Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to today's webinar on Maximize Your ServiceNow Investment with a Center of Excellence and Innovation, brought to you by Procom. My name is David Ford. I'm your host and moderator for this webinar. I'm also the Talent Solutions leader here at Procom. Joining us today on the panel is Hani Abdelhamid. Hani is an expert principal ServiceNow architect and is a certified master architect with 20 plus years of service management experience, of which more than 10 of that is ServiceNow. Thank you for joining us today, Annie. Also joining us on the panel today is Adam Lewin. Adam is Procom's leading ServiceNow account executive who comes with 18 years of industry experience and a proven track record of successfully placing ServiceNow professionals within various organizations. In today's session, we will cover the best practices on how to streamline and automate your business processes, enhance customer service, and drive innovation across your entire organization with the help of ServiceNow Center of Excellence and Innovation. Before we get started with the presentation, please note attendees can direct their questions to me by using the chat window provided in the right-hand side corner of your screen. We will be addressing the questions during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. With that, I'd like to hand this over to you, Henny.
Thank you, David. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So one thing to correct in David's intro, I'm not yet a certified master architect. I'm a certified master architect candidate. I'm part of the EMEA cohort right now. My exam is scheduled around end of July, so hopefully I will pass. Wish me luck. Okay, I have about 10 years of really intensive ServiceNow experience. I've worked with a lot of customers, large and complex deals, implementing ServiceNow. Before ServiceNow, also have about 10 years, additional 10 years of experience in overall ITSM and Remedy platform. So I will walk you guys through the Center of Excellence Innovation, the bells and whistles, how to set it up, and how to kind of unlock the full potential of ServiceNow through Center of Excellence and Innovation. So bear with me as I'm flipping through the slide. There is a bit of delay. There you go. Okay, really I use this analogy. Think of like when you experience an orchestra performance, the first thing that really captures your attention is the incredible harmony among all these instruments, all delivering a united message. In such setting, every instrument has a role. There is a conductor that's guiding them, and they are all singing the same song. So today, let me illustrate to you how you can operate your ServiceNow platform like an orchestra, how to set up Center of Excellence Innovation to break silos and orchestrate your business symphony of success. In today's agenda, we're gonna cover some definitions just to set some common ground on what it is we're gonna discuss throughout this session. I'm gonna talk about what's really Center of Excellence Innovation, the key responsibilities of the function, and how the function fits in really in an organization model, whether it's governance boards or operating model, overall operating model. And finally, how to stand up really, or the steps that you need to go through to stand up Center of Excellence and Innovation. So really, this is a common question and a very important question. So every time we hear about governance, Center of Excellence and Innovation, operating model, and really, what is the key difference and the boundaries between all of those concepts? Those are completely different concepts, completely different setup. So when we talk about governance, we really mean the set of policies, processes, and organizational capabilities that would enable organization to define how, what, and when decisions are made for ServiceNow. Think of like CAP as part of change management process. So CAP itself is a governance entity that would basically approve, reject, or advise on changes that are going to production. Also in ServiceNow, we have the concept of the strategy board, demand board, and technical boards. All these boards have different roles and responsibilities and decisions to be made. And there is the Center of Excellence and Innovation, and this is really an organization model. This is a setup, a function that operates within an organization model to kind of accelerate the growth of ServiceNow, bridge the gap basically between the business who are consuming ServiceNow and the ServiceNow delivery. And finally, we have the operating model. And operating model is the motherhood ship that's basically encompassing all of this. This is the way organization run business or does business. Anything in relation to people, roles, responsibilities, the setup, the structure, all the processes, procedures, and the technology, tools, integrations, and everything in between, really to do its business. ServiceNow would have its own also operating model, which Center of Excellence and Innovation as well as governance boards are part of it. So I hope this kind of clarify some common concepts. So what is really Center of Excellence and Innovation? As I mentioned, it's really a function that would have 4 key pillars. From a strategy, which you need to have in place to define your ServiceNow roadmap, bridge the gap between the organizational roadmap, the enterprise organizational roadmap, and ServiceNow roadmap in order to address or satisfy what the organization need from ServiceNow. And the strategy would basically be able to enable ServiceNow community in the business to realize the value of ServiceNow, accelerate the return on investment on ServiceNow, be able to measure the value of ServiceNow. And then we move into another pillar of the Center of Excellence and Innovation function, which is business enablement and delivery. So this is really the build. So consider strategy as a planning arm, and then after you plan your roadmap, you define your success factors, then you go through the build. So this is really building the framework or the engagement model between ServiceNow and the business, how demands are gonna funnel, how projects are being implemented, and how basically performance are being project performance are being measured, and the entire relationship with business. And then after you really build and deliver solutions using the business enablement and delivery tools, then you need to really a mechanism to maintain that solution, which is part of the platform architecture and support pillar. And consider that's really the sustainment of ServiceNow, takes care of the upgrade, the standards, whether integration standards, development standards, coding, QA standards, whatever standard that you need in place to make sure that ServiceNow always run in an acceptable health and aligned with ServiceNow best practice. And finally, you have an innovation pillar. You guys know, like every 6 months, we get really a massive change and kind of revolution to capabilities being deployed by ServiceNow releases almost every 6 months. So we need to be ahead. The business or the ServiceNow shop need to be ahead, need to understand really what's coming up, what's new, how do we bridge the gap between ServiceNow capabilities and the business needs. So innovation function is innovation pillar. It's all about opportunity spotting of ServiceNow innovations and capabilities that we can use to accelerate the growth of the business. And all of this definitely remove the organization barriers that can slow down the value realization of ServiceNow. Why do we need to invest in ServiceNow Center of Excellence? It kind of helps improve the velocity because you're now consolidating all teams from strategy, delivery, innovation, support, architecture into one function. So it kind of breaks the silos and improve the velocity. It also improve the strategic value with the business. You now have a rules of engagement, an engagement model to identify what business needs, how to respond to these, how to identify, prioritize, and respond to these needs, and definitely deliver and measure the success of the delivery for these needs. And kind of breaks the silos across those business units because now you have the master type function that kind of have this helicopter view across ServiceNow value for all business units. And finally, the innovation piece. So every time, or most of the cases, we basically get hits down into a reactive mode to address what business needs. But it's very rarely if we take maybe a backseat and say, okay, what is that's coming new in ServiceNow? How do we leverage that? What business is asking, or what business is even heading to, and how we can be ahead of the game? What sort of innovation opportunities we have ahead of us? How do we kind of stop focusing? And I'm not saying stop focus on the technical debt, but how do we move or transition from a reactive mode, addressing the immediate needs of the business, addressing the issues that we're having, into more of a proactive thinking ahead, thinking of what's coming, the AI, the incredible innovation opportunities that ServiceNow kind of provide to us, and how do we realize all of this and use it for the benefit of the organization. So these pillars, we're now going to cover the activities and deliverables, and how do we measure success for all these pillars. So in terms of strategy, it's really strategy responsibility is the roadmap oversight, the value realization and management, and takes care of also budgeting and resources that you require to run your service now. And measure of success, value realization, like how much value are we getting from ServiceNow? Is it really up to par or up to the expectation of the business, or higher or less? And then we get into the business enablement and delivery. So this is really designing and deploying unified and united digital workflows across all business units. So taking care of the demand management and training and OCM across the organization for any ServiceNow deployment. And the measures of success: delivery on time, on budget. So platform architecture and support, this takes care of, this is kind of a typical pillar that takes care of the technical aspect of running the platform, the instance strategy, the standards to run ServiceNow, to upgrade ServiceNow, to basically deploy releases into production, and then post-production support, or what have you. The measure of success could be the platform performance, upgradability, manageability, and the overall health of the platform. And finally innovation. So this is again all about opportunity spotting, and the measure of success could be the adoption and the opportunity capture rate. So again, if you look at these four pillars, you would see it kind of nicely follows a cycle. You start with a plan, which is strategy, and then build through business enablement and delivery, and basically run through the platform architecture and support, and finally innovate across all of this. Okay. Gonna deep dive a little bit. So those are the high level, what I've just described in the last 2-3 slides, really the high level pillars of the Center of Excellence innovation function. If we go a little bit one level down, and take a look at really a holistic view of the responsibilities, you would see that really the Center of Excellence Innovation is taking care of almost everything that relates to ServiceNow: vendor management, partner management, releasing deployment into operation, platform monitoring, the technical support of the platform management, definitely driving the change adoption, the demand management, the strategy, the portfolio, project and program management of ServiceNow projects, the training aspect of it. I would mention the OCM as well, the business support, knowledge management in relation to ServiceNow, program ServiceNow knowledge management, reporting, security of the platform, the data model and management of the platform, the architecture of the platform, the testing and development practices, and definitely the innovation on the platform. So all of these just also a high level key responsibilities of potential key responsibilities of a Center of Excellence and Innovation. So as you can see, Center of Excellence and Innovation is really not everything. So Center of Excellence and Innovation kind of lives hand in hand with other setups inside the big ServiceNow operating model. As you can see, it's just a layer. It's just a layer in the cake. Center of Excellence and Innovation, this is kind of a governance flow or operating model data flow. So you start from up top, really the organization steering committee, which traditionally takes care of the enterprise level goals. This is outside of ServiceNow. So sets really the enterprise the company roadmap on enterprise roadmap. Where are we heading? How we get there? And then there is an enterprise portfolio management office, and then one level down you get into ServiceNow executive steering board, and those are those three boards: executive board, demand, and technical. Those part of the governance practice. Again, not part of Center of Excellence Innovation. Those are meant to identify what decisions are being made, how they are being made, when they are being made, and every board has a separate set or a different set of responsibilities and decisions to be made. So executive steering committee is responsible for the strategy and roadmap, deciding on that. Demand board is responsible for prioritizing the backlog of demand that's coming to ServiceNow to basically support or satisfy. And the technical board is basically setting or approving the standards or the technical standards of ServiceNow, when to upgrade, how to code, how to test, how to do performance testing, what's really our guardrails on citizen developers, for example, working on ServiceNow. So setting or approving all the guidelines, practices, and policies and standards and golden rules that we need to have in place in order to really run ServiceNow and measure ServiceNow correct. And then you have the Center of Excellence Innovation, which takes care of running ServiceNow. In order to run ServiceNow, then you need to plan, engage with business, deliver, architect, support, and innovate. And Center of Excellence Innovation basically supported by a program management office, as well as change management, which is CAP. That's basically approving or assessing and authorizing changes to be released into production. So this slide, moving into how Center of Excellence kind of innovations fits into the big picture of the operating model. This slide gives another view. As you can see here, the layer in green gives an indication of where Center of Excellence Innovation fits, the full pillars of the Center of Excellence function, and how it does connect back to executive steering committee to get approval on the platform, the overall platform strategies, how getting the demands for approval to the demand board, and also demand passing those use cases or requirements or business demands into technical governance board to get solution reviews, and could be estimates, could be should we do it, should we not do it, is it good for the platform, not good for the platform, aligned with the technical strategy, instance strategy or not. So as you can see, really all these boards, along with the Center of Excellence Innovation, as well as our product and Scrum teams, work together cohesively in basically it's like the orchestra that I was showing you guys in first slide. So the delivery team can be outside of Center of Excellence Innovation, or can be inside of Center of Excellence Innovation. So that's really based on how you set up Center of Excellence Innovation and the resourcing model of Center of Excellence and Innovation. So really, based on ServiceNow best practices, there are 5 phases or 5 steps, high level, and there is some documentations on Now Create and success and customer success that you can access to kind of walk you through some details around all these steps. But you start with really setting your foundation, trying to set the foundation or the prerequisite to build the business case to set up Center of Excellence Innovation. So you need to really have a roadmap for ServiceNow. You need to have buy-in. You need to have an executive sponsor that's able to sponsor and support standing up Center of Excellence and Innovation. Then you go and define the charter and the structure. What are the key roles and the key responsibilities of the Center of Excellence and Innovation that you would need to set up? And then you go through the engagement model. How are you going to engage with business? How are you going to funnel these demands that are coming? How are you going to address it? What's your commitments? What's your service catalog of ServiceNow services? What does ServiceNow do? We know that, like, if I'm a business, I'm not a ServiceNow individual. When do I need to connect with Center of Excellence Innovation to ask for service? So what would you do? Maybe creating catalog items, onboarding teams or business units on ServiceNow. Definitely doing like technical services like the upgrade, like the patching. Maybe creating customizations, configuration, creating integrations. So you need to really define what it is that you do to address or to accelerate to accelerate the full potential of ServiceNow and address business needs. And then you need to define your resourcing model. How are you going to resource your Center of Excellence Innovation, the headcounts of it, the funding of it, and how you're going to keep the funding coming your way. And then finally, operationalizing your Center of Excellence and Innovation. So things like release calendar, upgrade calendar, all the standards that you need to have in place to make sure that ServiceNow is always maintained in a good health. So I'm gonna skip through some slides for the sake of time and give some time for intros. Sorry, for Q&As and for my colleague here to wrap up. So these slides, I think the slide deck will definitely be shared after, but I'm gonna skip through these slides for now. So just before I go to the takeaways, this is just an example, a good example that I thought to share with you. It's also published on ServiceNow Now Create, I believe, which is, it gives an example what Center of Excellence Innovation services that can be offered to the business, how business views the value that you can deliver to them. So if there are like some takeaways, the key takeaways, guys, that I need you to go from here and memorizing is center of excellence. You can grow center of excellence innovation iteratively. You don't have to build everything day one. You can start with really the minimal roles, minimal pillars, not necessarily all the pillars. For example, you don't have to start with demand. So maybe you start with strategy or business engagement, and then grow from there. You also need to, not necessarily the roles, but you need to think of the key activities. What is it Center of Excellence Innovation will do, and how do you measure success? This is key. The second takeaway is really just a mindset, understanding that Center of Excellence Innovation is your path to enterprise growth, because it's gonna be a layer that will interact with all business units. So it's definitely repositioning ServiceNow or alignment on ServiceNow being platform of the platforms, and alignment that ServiceNow really the platform, an enterprise platform, not just an IT platform. It's a platform for HR, for finance, for procurement, for everything that organization can do. And having Center of Excellence Innovation as one-stop shop can help bridge that silos and give you a perfect path to grow on an enterprise level. And what I finally advise is really delivery factories and distributed citizen development. A lot of us definitely want hear about these concepts, and there is tons of communities ServiceNow would provide you so that you're able to run multiple squads, multiple Scrum teams at the time in parallel to accelerate the growth of ServiceNow, delegate and a lot of capabilities to have citizen development in place to speed up the delivery at a higher quality with governance in place, to accelerate the potential and growth of ServiceNow. So with that, I'm gonna before I pass it to my colleague, there are also some very good resources here for everybody if you need more information about Center of Excellence Innovation. So these are basically a collection of very good resources on ServiceNow portals and knowledge bases and communities that would help you get additional information and insights into Center of Excellence and Innovation. So with that, I'm gonna pass it to my colleague here. Adam?
Thank you, Hani, and thanks, David, and a big thank you to our presenter today, Hani Abdelhamid from Customizo, for sharing his very valuable time and insights on how we can fully harness all the power CoEI has to offer. And I think in the fairness of time, I think everybody in this meeting understands the challenges we all face in finding top ServiceNow talent. So let's scroll down to the playbook. Now let's flip the slide and one more. One more slide. Okay. So similarly to the ServiceNow success playbook for CoEI, we can apply a similar 5-step recruitment playbook in laying out a successful ServiceNow staffing model for you, not only to sustain your current ServiceNow business, but one that's going to allow you to take your ServiceNow practice to new heights in the future. So number one is understanding your search. This starts out with one of our technical ServiceNow account managers working hand in hand with our clients to ensure we fully understand your ServiceNow ecosystem and specific requirements by advising on current ServiceNow trends, market conditions, in order to formulate a customized and effective staffing plan that's tailored specifically for your organizational needs. Number two is our specialized recruitment teams. Here at Procom, we have specialized teams who specialize in ServiceNow recruitment. They will take over our search, and with the ability to understand and search for different modules and specialty skills required, they're going to be able to find you the right ServiceNow professionals for your specific needs. Number three is our access to talent. Procom is one of the largest IT staffing agencies in North America, and we have up to 10,000 consultants coming off assignment at any given time. This really gives us a competitive edge in accessing top ServiceNow talent for our competitors. Our competitors simply don't have access to this information. So we know that in order to be successful, we need to be working with the latest and greatest search tools. And that's why here at Procom, we believe in working with the most powerful tools in the industry, no matter what the cost. And we continue to invest heavily in this area year after year to meet our clients' growing and evolving ServiceNow needs. Number 4 is our recruitment horsepower. Procom boasts one of the largest recruitment departments in North America, employing more than 150 full-time recruiters company-wide. In order to make sure your needs are always met, and in many cases, we do utilize our dedicated ServiceNow staffing resources that have awareness of your working environment and the types of candidates you actually wish to hire. Lastly, the 5th step is we employ specific ServiceNow testing and certification verification processes to validate the candidates have the proper skills and credentials that they claim to have on their resume. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I hope you learned a lot about what CoEI has to offer. And I just want to pass it off to Dave for some Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Adam, and thank you very much, Hanny. That was a very, very insightful presentation, and hopefully everyone who joined us today has found this useful and beneficial. We are running over time, so what we're going to do is, instead of opening the floor for Q&A, we're going to address any questions offline. So if you are unable to ask any questions you might have at the moment, I am putting Adam's address here in the chat, adaml@procomservices.com. He would be more than happy to help direct any of your questions to Hanny and help provide some of those answers for you. So in the interest of time, we're going to address those questions after we're finished up here. And with that, I'd like to bring today's session to an end. I just want to thank Hanny for the effort, the insightful presentation, and all of our participants, everyone who's joined us today. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to Adam. But thank you very much for joining us. Take care, have a great day, and have a great weekend. Thank you.